The next issue that I want to point out with our contract is the fact that anyone can call our pick-winner function right now. If you recall, when we first started talking about the layout of our contract, we had said that only the manager was supposed to be able to tell the contract to pick a winner. Nobody else should be able to. There's a couple of good reasons for this. First off, maybe the manager wants to be the person in control of the contract, and maybe they want to publish a date and say, okay, on January 30th or whatever day, a winner will be picked. And so we want to make sure that only this manager is able to pick a winner or to call the function to pick a winner. In addition, you'll recall that our random function is currently pseudo-random in nature. In other words, our random picker right here is really not quite so random. So if some stranger realized that if they called pick winner at just the right time, that would influence the values of these three elements right here, they could potentially make sure that a given player won. And we definitely don't want that as well. So in short, we want to make sure that only the manager is able to call the pick winner function. To do so, we can use a require statement just like we wrote before. So back up inside of our enter function, you'll recall that we called require, and we used require to do a little bit of early validation. If require is passed in a falsy value, then the function will automatically exit. So we can do the same exact thing inside of pick winner as well. But this time around, we'll make sure that the person who is calling pick winner has been marked as the manager of the contract. All right, so let's give this a shot. At the top of pick winner, we'll call require, and then inside of here, we need to place some Boolean logic to validate and make sure that whoever is attempting to access this function is in fact the manager. You'll recall that a little bit ago, we made use of the message global variable, and it had a property called sender, and that was the address of whoever was attempting to call the function. So we can reference message.sender, and we'll check to see if this is exactly equal to our manager variable. So I'll say equals manager, like so. With this line of code, we should be able to enforce that nobody can call pick winner except for the person who originally created the contract. In other words, the manager. Let's do a quick test and just verify that this is working the way we expect. I'm going to open up the Run tab over here. I'm going to click on the Create button. And then I'll enter the contest, first off, with the Enter button. Don't forget that you need to specify some starting value of ether up here. So I will send in a value of 1 ether. I will then enter the contract. If I enter in a 0 to players, I should see an address appear, and it looks like I do. And now, if I click on pick winner, it will call that function. But remember, I just deployed the contract. So at present, if I click on pick winner, it should successfully run this line or run this entire function right here. However, if I go back up to the top and change my account over to any other account on here, like let's say the last one, now if I try to call pick winner, it should fail entirely. I'm going to open up the transaction log down here on the bottom left-hand side, clear it out, and now when I click on pick winner, I should see an error message. So I'll click on pick winner, and sure enough, you'll notice transact blah blah blah, VM error revert. And you'll recall from a couple of videos ago, whenever we see this type of error message right here, it usually means not that something went wrong with trying to send a transaction to the function, it means that something went wrong while we were running the function. So if we wanted to, we could click on the debug button right here. That enters us into the debug phase. And if I go back to the start and then start clicking step through, we first check to see what the value of manager is. We check to see what the value of message.sender is. We check to see if those are equal and feed that into the require statement. And sure enough, you'll notice that's the last step that we go through inside of here. So no other code after this require statement is executed. Okay, so that definitely works out pretty well. You'll recall that at this point, we've mentioned many times the differences between public and private. So we don't use public or private to try to keep people from or to somehow enforce any level of security. Instead, to enforce security, we use require statements like the one that you see right here. All right, so let's pause right here, and I want to point out one or two little changes that we can still make to our contract in the next video.